Let's talk about the most lucrative experience generating endeavor in the game, which is mining. Mining is very lucrative when it comes to experience, especially for new players. You can spend your first 15 to 20 levels simply mining. You can help other characters fill up their silos, which is where you deposit ore after you've mined it. So how do you mine? First of all, you're going to want to go to a vehicle terminal and spawn an ant. This is what an ant looks like. There are, by default, 2 lasers, 3 technically. There's the front 2 lasers, which are controlled by the driver, and then there's the top-mounted laser, which can be controlled by a friend or a passenger. When you go inside of an ant by pressing the E key, E gets you in and out of vehicles, by the way, enter, exit. When you're inside of the ant, one thing that's important to have is a larger mini-map, because the larger mini-map will help you find ore a little bit better. So push the H key. Now, once you have the mini-map enlarged, you can zoom out or zoom in accordingly using the brackets. The brackets are located next to the letter P on your keyboard. Once you have that set up, you can press T to go into first-person mode, or you can hit T once again to go to third-person mode. And what you're looking for is already on the map. This node right here is cordium. Cordium is the ore in PlanetSide 2. After you have mined cordium, you'll be placing it into a silo. You get a certain amount of XP for mining the ore, and you get a little bit more XP for depositing into a silo. So let's go over to a mining node and get some cordium. So usually what happens when you start to actually mine is you want to be in first person. So I'll push the letter T, and that'll put me in first person. You simply put the crosshairs, or this targeting reticle in the middle, on the ore node, and then push the left mouse button, which will start the lasers. It's very, very simple. The default lasers do not overheat, but there are some upgraded lasers you can add later that are faster at mining that happen to overheat. Now, when it comes to the bars on the left and right side, I will go over into the shady area so you can see. What happens is 1 bar is for the ore node and 1 bar is for your ant's storage capacity. So as you can see here, this bar is almost empty. This is how much ore is in this particular node. This is how much ore I'm carrying, so I'm almost at capacity. I was doing some mining a little bit earlier. So what we'll do is fill this ant all the way up right now by pressing the left mouse button and getting the rest of the ore that we can. Now once a node is out of ore, it disappears. They will regenerate, and it's important to remember where they're located because you can come back here and search for the node. Nodes come in 3 sizes. Generally they come in either 2,000, 6,000, or 35,000. Now there are some other options available for nodes as far as multiple nodes spawning, but we'll talk about that some other time. We simply go back to the silo and put our crosshair on that pipe right there. You can actually just aim in the general vicinity of this pipe, but this is your filling pipe. So you'll left click like you were mining, and you can see the number on the right. This number here, right here, is the capacity of the silo. You'll see the numbers start to go down. Silos, by their very nature, burn ore. Silos also allow you to build base structures, which we'll explain later. Silos have a capacity of 50,000 ore. This is, once again, the capacity of my ant. So this is the basic way you mine. You find the ore nodes, get all the ore you can hold, find a silo, which, like I showed you, shows up on the map, and then you get XP for both mining and delivery of the ore. As you can see, I am earning quite a bit of experience. This is a lot because getting a kill in the game is usually worth 100 to 200 XP, while filling a silo can earn you 500 or 600 at the very least. So then you would go back and look for more ore. Now that we understand the basics of mining, let's talk about how to upgrade your ant. Now, whenever you're upgrading something in the game, either a class or a vehicle, there's 2 ways to do that. You can either go to the actual empty slot and then select something that you would like to unlock, but what I prefer to do is use the certs option. Now the ant certs option is just another way to do the same thing, and it allows you to see how much things are going to cost over the long haul. Now in this case, there's really only 3 primary things that I concern myself with an ant. The storage capacity is very important. The more ore you can hold, the less trips you have to make, makes you more efficient. The mineral radar allows you to detect ore nodes at a greater distance. Now, generally speaking, I would upgrade the storage to probably level 3 until you reach a higher level. You have to reach probably 15th level before you want to start dumping a lot of money into that. 500 certs is a lot of certs, and there's quite a few things to unlock. So it's logical to unlock cordium storage up to level 3, and then the mineral radar up to level 3 also. Mineral radar at level 3 gives you a 400 meter radius detection, which is substantially better than the default detection, which is only 200. Now, as far as the third thing that I look to update, it's the high-speed racer chassis, because those 3 skills allow you to detect the ore better, mine more of it at a time, and get to the ore quickly. I would only unlock the high-speed chassis up to level 1 initially, and then consider the defense slot option. Nanite auto repair is a fantastic ability because your ant will repair itself as long as it's not being shot at. After 12 seconds of no damage, the ant will begin to repair itself. This is very, very useful. I would only upgrade that to maybe System 2 or Level 2, which is 30 certs initially and then 50 certs thereafter. Now, as far as the utility slot goes, personally, I like the transport cloak. The downside to the transport cloak is if you utilize it or turn it on, it burns 200 ore per second, which is pretty bad. But if you're being attacked and you have a full load, in some cases it's better to escape than it is to worry about a few hundred or 1,000 ore. Now, the transport cloak doesn't render you completely invisible. It is possible to see you, but in most cases, I would say 90% of the time, you're almost completely invisible to the enemy. They have to be very, very close to seeing you, and there has to be some sort of shimmer or sunlight or shade that's giving away your position. Sometimes the sunlight shooting through a cloaked vehicle will give away the vehicle's position. But most of the time, the transport cloak will help you escape with your ore and get back to your silo. I wouldn't spend a tremendous amount of money or certs, that is, on the transport cloak, but it's definitely worth unlocking at 50 certs. If you didn't want to unlock the transport cloak, there are a fair amount of people that like the turbo, which lets you go very, very quickly. The problem with the turbo is you're not invisible, you're much quicker, but you're also burning up to 250 ore per second. In my estimation, the transport cloak is more efficient. It renders you invisible for the most part, and it's far less expensive per second than the turbo engine is. If you don't like either of those, I would simply consider fire suppression. Other than that, that's it. You're ready to take your ant out and start mining.